Mr. Hansen.
It's a very simple matter of fact. Answer is a judge should recuse himself if there's a conflict of interest. Period.
Thank you very much. For the third round, this will be very short. I'm going to ask one question, and every one of you is going to answer that question. I'm going to draw your names in random order. You can have up to 30 seconds to respond if you'd like. And when I planned this, I didn't know that some of you were already going to somewhat address this issue. But the question as written is, Article 6, Section 7 of the Minnesota Constitution provides that judges shall be elected by voters. The Qui Commission has recommended amending the Minnesota Constitution to have judges appointed rather than elected, and that judges thereafter run in retention elections rather than contested elections. Do you agree or disagree with the recommendations of the Qui Commission? Ms. Hennessy.
I get to start again. I vehemently oppose the election retention. I don't believe that any committee should be able to select the sitting judge or be able to retain the sitting judge. It should stay with the people. The judges are elected for the people, and the people should be able to decide whether they stay on the bench.
Thank you. Mr. Jude.
I did happen to address this in my opening remarks, but it is a serious issue at the Capitol because obviously the Qui Commission has a number of supporters, including the League of Women Voters, and I certainly respectfully disagree with their recommendations. The countries, there are foreign countries that have only one name on the ballot, but they aren't really democracies, and I don't really consider this to be a democratic reflection of what our founders wanted or what we would like to have as our democracy today.
Thank you. Ms. Brosnahan.
My position on the Qui Commission is that it's attempting to fix a problem that's basically fix a problem that's not there. We've had a very successful history in Minnesota with our judicial selection process and the ability for voters to have a check on the judicial branch as well. And I, at this point, don't believe the Qui Commission addresses it sufficiently to modify the state's constitution as proposed.
Thank you. Mr. Penwell.
Thank you. As I said in my opening remarks, this has been in the Minnesota Constitution since we joined the Union in 1858. That's 152 years. That's a long time, and it shouldn't be changed lightly. I completely disagree with the Qui Commission. The Declaration of Independence says governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, and you have a right to vote on who the judges are.
Thank you. Mr. Hansen.
Thank you for the question. If you read the Qui Commission bases its conclusion on the assumption that electing judges has the danger of being influenced by money and politics. However, its conclusion that we go to a retention election in no way removes money or politics from judicial elections. It just means now there's one person on the ballot, and that's anti-democratic, and therefore it's just plain wrong.
Thank you. Mr. Stebbins.
I agree with what Mr. Hansen said. I don't think the Qui Commission fully addresses what they intended to as far as the political or the politicization of the judicial election process. But what no one has pointed out so far is that the majority of the judges sitting on the bench today were appointed by the governor. They weren't elected by the people. Judges sit for a term, and unless their term opens up or their seat opens up during an election year, they're appointed by the governor. That's the way it works. The Qui Commission is an offshoot of that.
Thank you. Ms. McEnroe.
I haven't read the commission report in detail, so I don't feel informed enough to comment on it one way or the other, but I would agree with the comments of Mr. Stebbins that the current process results in both appointment and occasionally election of judges by the people. I personally have been through both processes, being screened by the commission and now being involved in an election, and I do believe that the increased expenditures, et cetera, and the politicization of the judiciary is a bad idea.
Thank you. Ms. Hawley.
Thank you. I don't believe that the Cui Commission is intending to take the voter out of the process of choosing their judges, but I do think it recommends changing the role that the voter has. I think that pitting 2 or 24 people against each other and asking the voters to pick the best candidate is probably not the best way to get educated decisions out of our voters. And what we really need is to figure out how to do voter education about what makes a good judge and give the voters information about the candidate that they are reviewing so that they can make a good informed decision about that.
Thank you. Mr. Steigoff.
I couldn't disagree more. What we're talking about here is taking away a constitutional right. That right belongs to you. And here's another example of the government wanting to take yet another right away. Haven't you had enough of that? Yes. It's another example of the government saying, we know better. I don't know about the rest of you, but from my particular point of view, they're not doing that great a job. I think it'd be better off if they didn't know it all and listen to the people who still have common sense. Thank you.
Ms. Arnold.
I completely disagree with the Cui Commission. I do not see the elected, or the voters, the voting public, as the peasantry that needs to have the King's Court determine who their judges are going to be. Especially when we see this election, we have 24 candidates. Ramsey County, they had an open seat. They had 9 candidates. Up in the 6th, they had 6 candidates. People are interested in running for judges and obtaining your vote.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marker.
Yeah, I agree. Boy, if I've learned anything this summer, it's that people care about who hold these positions and that they have good questions of people that are running for these positions. And I think that's an indicator that and other things is an indicator that these largely should be elected positions. I think Ms. Brosnahan's right that the commission is attempting to fix something that's not necessarily broken. So I agree. I support the election of judges.
Thank you. And Ms. McPherson.
Thank you. I also support the election of judges. And what I would indicate is I would echo some of Ms. Hawley's comments. I think what we should focus on, rather than creating a new system of election of judges, is focus on how do we make the system that we have work and work well. As I've been going around talking with people, people are very frustrated that they can't get good information about judicial candidates. And I think we need to address that frustration rather than seeking a new system.
Thank you very much. We're now going to take a very short break from questions. I wish to introduce you. Oh, I missed somebody. I am so sorry. Ms. Burchell.
You'd think my red hair would be the beat. I think a judge is a public servant. And it's my general overriding philosophy that public servants should serve the people and then probably go back to living like the people for a very long time. And so I definitely agree with judicial elections. And I think what you see up here are many very capable people. And many of us would probably be a very good judge. I'm in front of judges every day. So I think even a rotating... I'm done.
Oh, I don't know what I've done wrong. I shall count these during the break. Ms. Smits.
Thank you. I've also been part of both processes. I am running for election here.